Hello, what's up everybody? Good to see ya. Paul Trani in the house, in my house. Hopefully you're at your house. Good to have you here. I'm here with 2 cups of coffee because I'm not a morning person, but this is going to be really fun and I'm really excited about getting started in augmented reality. I'm going to be using Dimension, Aero. I'm going to use Photoshop. I will get into Mixamo. And I'm even going to get into some Spark AR. So if you've seen those filters on Instagram, Instagram stories, then I think I'll make one of those as well. So it should be good. And just so you know, Colby, so many questions about exporting for Aero. Yeah, we can talk about all this stuff. Yeah. I might get questions about file types and stuff like that. There's lots of different file types. I'm going to be using OBJ today, just so you know, and some materials and things like that. But this will be good. All right, folks, let's get this party started. Let's dive right into it. Okay. Where is my screen? It's right here, and nothing's on it yet. What is Aero? Marsha! Oh, she's setting me up. Marsha is setting me up. I love it. Let me show you, actually. Let's go to, again, Adobe Aero. It's actually an iOS app for iPad and iPhone, and allows you to sort of preview augmented reality experiences. That's what Aero is. You can see it right here. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. You're not actually seeing it in the real world. You're experiencing it through your screen. So you can go ahead and download it for iOS, not available for Android yet, but that's the idea. So how do you make the content for Aero? That's the big question. We're going to go the least path of resistance starting out, and we're actually going to start out in Photoshop. Okay, so again, here, right over here, let's open up Photoshop. Here's just a simple Photoshop. Actually, it's not simple, to be honest with you. It's pretty complex. But we're going to head into outer space this morning. So that is the plan. And by the way, if you are new to joining us, or even if you're not, just in general, here's the schedule that's going on today. Whoop. You have me this morning for 90 minutes. We're going to master augmented reality for the designer, which is great. We're going to get into a Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge as well right after this. Photo compositing, Sean Reichen, that'll be fun. So a lot of Photoshop this morning. I'm going to start out with it as well. We get into Illustrator, branding, and some XD this afternoon. I think, and I'm sure Howard's on the schedule somewhere. Kyle T. Webster drawn along, design off this afternoon. So a big day, a lot of Photoshop this morning, which is a good thing. Because again, this is where I start most things, is in Photoshop. So I'll just switch back to my screen right here. Okay, so first off, this is what I'm going to do. I need to simplify this, to be honest with you. And this is kind of the process you have to go through. What's up, Warren Walker? Good to see you. So I have all these are rocks. Let me just do this really fast. I do not know the shortcut for merge layers. I apologize. I've gotten kind of out of using shortcuts just because, you know, when you're live streaming, it doesn't really help anybody. But I'm showing you this right now because this is actually pretty complex. This is kind of made up of, hold on, I have masks, I have clipping masks, and what I need to do is I need to start merging these together and just keep making this file a little bit more simple. What is that? I don't even know. Oh, this all goes to the rocket, right? So I'm going to take this file and I'm going to put it on my mobile device here in a second using Aero. A lot of these layers aren't going to make any sense, but I thought this was kind of fun. This needs to be inverted, so it's just easier to see. I'm going to flip the colors because that C is not quite reading correctly. Stars. So you need to simplify your PSD. Guess what? I'm going to get rid of the background as well. So I've simplified this PSD. So now it's just Command E will do it. Well, I'll be darned. Command E. Cheers. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Tim. I'm on a Mac, so that's Command E for me. Cool. So that's what you need to do, simplify it. You know what? I removed the background because the background is actually going to be this area here. Okay, so that's the plan. I'm going to do a save as, just because I don't want to ruin this file, because I got to keep the backup. I'm just going to call this space, quite frankly. Space. File. Export. Export for Aero right within Photoshop. So this is super easy to do, right? Boom, export for Aero. We want to make sure that, again, the layers are simplified because we want to preserve all those layers, but not have anything crazy with it, right? So export, we'll put it in here. We will call it space PSD. Saving, like so. Your file is converting. See your file in augmented reality. Use Aero app as well. So if we take a look on our hard drive, Creative Cloud files, Aero. These are all my Aero files. You'll see some GLBs, and this is really where a lot of the action is going to take place in Creative Cloud files. Okay, right here, right? My Creative Cloud files and these assets right in here. So I've loaded a lot of them on already. Don't really care for that one. I'm going to get rid of it. But this is the PSD that we just exported, right? So there it is. All I need to do is jump over to my mobile device, and let's get this party started. Oh, Karen, Karen, it's 9:30 p.m. where you are? Where are you? Do I have some Dimension images? Heck yeah, we're going to use Dimension. You got it. Dimension is Adobe's 3D compositing app is what I like to call it, but you can do some modeling as well. All right, so I got my fancy iPhone right here. I will switch screens really fast, and you can see me, hi, right here, just to show that there's nothing in front of me. And then I have Aero on my iOS iPhone 11 Pro. So going into Aero, again, this is Adobe Aero. You can download it. Log in with your Adobe ID so it can connect your Creative Cloud files to Aero, right? Yeah, it's kind of Earthworm Jim. I agree, Paul. Into it. Feel free to say hello. I like talking to you guys. I like talking to people in chat. But right in here, I'm just going to hit the plus button. And now we need a scan for a surface. So it's scanning. Thankfully, my keyboard is there because you need something with texture. Like, it would help if I put down like a book or magazine or something that has lines on it, like a grid. That's going to work out great. Okay, so right there, boom, that's going to be my surface. Let's go into Creative Cloud. There are some starter assets you could use as well. Going into my Aero folder, sure enough, there's the space PSD. Boop, like that. Oh, well, thank you. You like my house? It's all I do is clean around here. That's all I do. There it is. Tap to place it. Boop. Let's tap it right there. And there it is, the outer space. In fact, let's just do this for fun. Just to really drive it home. There it is, from Photoshop to my actual like desktop right here. So we can see outer space. I can take a look at this. I love viewing the layers. So tap on this PSD, check this out. Do the Z offset. See what's happening there? It's popping all that out. So it says outer space. I just thought this was kind of cool. The Z index, where everything is moved, right? Again, kind of fun. Since we are using Photoshop, all the layers are going to be flat. But I'm telling you, Paul, I'm glad you like this. This is magic. Imagine creating a PSD that had like a bunch of concentric circles or something like that. That like you can make some really cool designs, like linear designs that you can kind of walk through, and I think that would be really fun. But there it is, outer space, super easy, right? Obviously, we can't read it from the top, right? But we can from the front. There's more I can do here as well. It's just the layers that give it depth, Colby, just so you know. Yeah, and it's just a simple PSD. So if I go over here, right in here, I have to double check to see if they're writing any metadata or anything like that, but this PSD is the same on my desktop. Boop. This is just a simple PSD. So I could take this PSD that got saved for Aero and open it up. And this is the exact same file, right? Same file, same layers, and sure enough, there it is. Okay, so let's add a little bit more to this, right? I have that outer space. Let's tap on it. Let's move it. There we go. Kind of moving it up so I'm not breaking my neck when viewing this. And let's scale it down a little. All right, so there it is. Let's move on. Okay, there it is. Easier for me to see now, so I'm not like breaking my neck. So there it is, outer space. Cool, let's add some functionality to this. Tapping on it. All I was doing was manipulating it with the options at the bottom. So I was manipulating layers, scale. We could do rotation. We can get into behaviors. Clicking right here, we'll go to trigger, and on tap, do something. So this is fun. So augmented reality, adding some functionality. We'll add an action. And this is the long list. I'm not sure if you could see this or read it too well, but it's fascinating, and I want to get into a couple of these. Actually, let's do this. Let's make this on, delete that sequence. On start, let's have it spin X, Y, spin on the X axis. Like this. Zoop. There it is. Let's try this on the Y. So immediately, this is what's going to happen when you load up this file, is we have a simple spin, right? Then I'm going to add a new action, a new trigger, sorry. So when we tap on it, then it's going to, I actually want to aim it. It's going to point directly to the camera. Okay, just like that. Done, done, preview. There it is. As we preview it, we see it spin around. We can see the depth right up here at the top, right? And then if I tap on it, I have it set to aim, so it's always going to be pointing at the camera. You ready for this? So it's going to be up here. You can't really read it, but if you tap on it, zoop. Now it's orienting to the camera, right? So that's what aim does. So I'm digging in there. Ooh, look at that. Right? That's the idea. It's actually rotating that content and pointing at me. So that's good to do if you are... is it possible to import custom actions somehow? Yes, there is, and that's what animation would be. So, and by the way, I'm just going to record this as well. So this is the next step as I kind of wrap this up. Let's go back to edit. We'll go into preview. Actually, let's go edit, record. It spins around. We can see what it looks like. We can tap on it, boop, and now it's oriented to, and guess what? It's all based on this simple PSD we had right here. So I just created a video. I'll hit stop. I could share this with you guys. You could share it as a link, and it will just generate an Aero link. So if you have Aero, you'd have access to this file. Okay. How about bringing the heart into Aero? Yeah. Do you want me to make a heart? How did you know? How did you know I had a heart? How did you know? Okay, so that's a flat image, by the way. Yeah. So we could talk about dimension now as well, because if you say heart, like it could be a flat heart or it could be an actual 3D heart. Luckily, I have an actual 3D heart, which is probably what you saw. So I'm going to show you how to kind of create this content as well, starting with a new Aero project, adding Creative Cloud, Aero. I assume you saw heart in here somewhere? Maybe not. I don't know. But I could show you how to do this. Check this out. You ready for this? Let's go back one. Are you ready for this? This should answer Colby's question, by the way. So you can build out an animation in another 3D software app, okay? Or you could use something like Mixamo. So what I'm going to show you is this awesome Mixamo character. Again, Anita, a pumping heart, that has to be created in 3D software, like, again, C4D, where you could actually animate a heart pumping. Then what you do is in Aero, you trigger that animation. So it's just going to play that timeline. So right in here, check this out. Let me just show you this. This is going to be fun. Let me just take things to the next level. I'm all over the map. I want to show you how to make this. Well, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it a little bit. I'm just getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited. Yeah, I got the skull, I got a pumping heart, I got a ton of things right in here, right? So we can take this. This is what I've done before as well. This is Aero, so this is where I'm going to go next. Before I get animation, right, we have this object, right? So again, this was just made in Dimension. So you get it, skulls and hearts. I only got one trick, right? I only got one thing I do, I guess, right? But then again, there's that skull, right? Making that content is done in Dimension. So I'm going to go into Dimension, and then I'm going to go into Aero, and then I want to go into Spark AR, because we want to be able to make really cool things like this guy, right? To where, whoop, behavior, tap, action, animate, play, check, preview, up. There he is. Uh-oh, he's getting up. There's our fun 3D character. So again, that's Mixamo. All right, cool. All right, so let's get back into this. I was just showing you some exciting things on in Aero. And I want to get some questions answered, right, for some of these. Okay, all right. Shaking it off, getting ready, stretching. I'm going to do some stretches because it's going to get, we're shifting gears. We're going to get into 3D now and Dimension. I'm going to do an outer space name. I've just decided some like otherworldly type thing is what I'm going for, right? All right. So a pumping heart. I don't have a pumping heart. I'm just kind of reading over chat. So I already covered kind of quickly, not so much custom actions, but at least playing a timeline. But now I want to get into just some like quick modeling. So right in here, we could do this in Aero real fast. We can create this object, shoop, move this up. Here's our fun sphere. That could have a texture to it. So scrolling down, let's try just some quick different materials like this one. I use this option a lot, especially when you get to working. Like this will center your canvas on the item that you have selected. So it's like here, zoop, like that. Perfect, right? I can see this, kind of move it around. I can actually use the on-object controls, kind of spin it. Maybe I want to have it at a little bit of an angle like that. Maybe I don't want the center point right there. I can change the pivot point to the center, boom, like that. And now this makes much more sense when I'm like rotating it and all that fun stuff, right? In a Dimension, as of today, you actually can't add animation. But you do all your modeling. You can create objects. In fact, let's go right over here. I'll go to my starter assets, my models, okay, scrolling up to the top. To answer your question, what's the difference between AR and VR? Augmented reality is basically we're in the real world. We're viewing things through our camera, aka Pokemon Go or whatever, Instagram stories, and you're augmenting your reality with like 3D objects and 2D objects. So that's the idea. Virtual reality is where you are immersed entirely in a generated world, if you will. Okay, so here it is. Also, we have, instead of using this primitive, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to use this sphere, dropping in this sphere. These are basic shapes, and these are brand new, okay? So, Colby, you might be in on this, or interested in this. Scrolling down, for this sphere, you have different types of spheres. So let me add, again, just a fun texture to this first, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Let's add some glass. Let's throw an environment back there. Why not? This is very deserty, kind of otherworldly. Damaged glass is a fun one as well. Here's damaged glass, which is super cool. All right, okay, we will zoom in on this. Right down here, since this is a parametric shape, these have controls that other shapes don't. So right down here, for the sphere, I can go ahead and instead of make it standard, I can make it a hexahedron. You don't really notice it until you start dropping down, say, I could drop the radius down, but dropping down the subdivisions is what we're doing there. And I do like that broken glass, but it's hard to see what's happening. So there it is. Here's the sphere controls, right? And the subdivisions that we're giving it. So we're breaking this down and we can make it look like a disco ball or something more metallic and otherworldly, which is what we're going for. So we'll scale that down. We'll put it over here. I'll go to my other shapes right over here, a torus, right? We want something kind of maybe circling the area, circling our astronaut that we're going to bring in. And I get it. I can scale this content up, but right down here, this one is going to have different properties. So right down here, we can change the pipe radius is what I'd want to do. Kind of taking that down whoop, to 1 centimeter, or tapping on it 0.5 centimeters. And then we have just that nice ring, right, that we can play with. So if I decide to take a sphere, put it on the inside, here's our sphere. That happens to have texture to it. And then we have this torus. That could be the rings for this planet that I'm making, right? Let's drop this brushed iridescent metal like so. Let's pan around a little bit just to kind of get an idea, okay? And maybe I'll turn off that background. All right, so that's what you could do with these parametric shapes that have additional properties we could work with. By the way, if I didn't want this to go all the way around, wait for it, let's select the torus, scale it back up. Scale it back up, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. There it is. Wait for it. Dropping that there. Also for this, you can actually slice it as well. So for this, for also the cone is another one that you can kind of slice. But right here, we're going to slice the angle. And then let's rotate it like so. Okay, you can obviously see kind of what's happening. So, right, cool, you get it? Yeah, so you can have a lot of fun with this. Can you export Aero with transparent materials? No, you can't, Colby, sorry. There is a short list of things that you can't do, but this, let me just do this really fast. I'll throw some glass on this sphere in the center, right? And I might decide that I want to export out all this content. I'll go to File, Export. This is how you export for Aero in Dimension. Export the selected for Aero. Pop, like that. Keep in mind, if it's over 50 megs, then it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to get it on Aero, right? In this case, everything's good. We'll hit Export. Aero, this will be abstract. Exporting. Hold on. Now I got to try it. I want to see what that transparent looks like. Okay, let's go back home. Boom. Scan around. Tap. Found a surface. adding our asset called abstract. Oh, can you, yeah, Derek, you should be able to import a fluid sim into Aero. I haven't done that before, so I'm actually like 90% sure you can, but I'm not 100% sure because I've never done it before. Okay, so there we go. This is what we get. Oh, that's actually, that metallic texture is actually working out pretty well. Like, that's not bad. The transparent sphere in the center is okay as well. We can actually preview it, but you get the idea. Ah, man. So that's what you got. All right, let's switch back. Seems like I'm getting a lot of questions on like importing content. Let's just do a couple more things because I just wanted to show you a couple of these new features that we just added, which is all these basic shapes. Right in here, you could obviously see that there is this text that you could drop in. Right, so there we go. Boom, like this. Outer. Let's do other. Scaling this down. Duplicating it. Moving it down. For the second one. Text 2, world. Something like that. You get the idea. Clean gold. Okay, so this is what's happening as well. I'm glad I'm working through this because what I'm doing is I'm taking a texture, I'll drop on the brass, and it's actually only changing the front face right over here. So you have front, side, bevel, back. If that happens, just take that brass and drop it on the actual object in the scene, and then it will apply it to everything. Also what this needs a lot more light. Right, so let's add studio key and fill lights, for instance. Let's adjust this rotation. I should have something a lot more shiny. Okay, 3-point light, why not? There we go, we got it bright now, okay? There we have it. Is chocolate a material? Chocolate's lots of things. I think so. Also for these, drop in a glow for that sphere. And this text is going to have the glossy, the silver glossy. All right, there we have it. If I actually want to see what this looks like, you could click this render preview right up at the top, and this really starts to show that there actually is a glow there, and it's actually picking up the reflection. A lot of this actually, it just won't register until you render it out, but we're actually seeing it right now. Okay, let me take a drink of my coffee. Yeah, if you can create some 3D fire or lightning, stuff like that. Let's talk about some of the things that we can actually import. Since I've already shown you text, and by the way, we can add a little bevel since this is, you know, a metallic material, right? It's a reflective material. We can go ahead and get lots of fun reflections in there, especially when we add the bevel right over here. We can make this a little bit more complex, and you can see, again, just kind of the depth we're getting with that text. We'll go right over here, change this one, turn that on. And by the way, let's pick a more interesting font. I don't know if this is actually going to look good, so I'm going to save my file. Other world. You want to hear a pro tip, by the way? This is fascinating. And I have not done this yet. But I figured out a hack that should totally work. There we are. Oh, love that area font. This is cool. Wait for it. It's coming. There it is. Right? And now you can see this font. That actually doesn't look bad. Okay, so... Oh, Santana. Yes. Yeah, I don't have any cool designs for coffee mugs. What you can do is you can, of course, slap a decal on any model. So on a coffee mug, if you want to sell it to a client, this is what it's going to look like on a mug. Otherwise, you can model your own, which is obviously going to take more time. So this is really cool. I like this font. But think about this. I can import. I can't create something in Adobe Dimension. I mean, I have the basic shapes. And then I have all the models, and then I can import models. But what if you wanted to take your logo and make your logo 3D? What you could do is in Illustrator, create your logo, have your logo, use something like font self to turn your logo into a font. Your font might only be one character. It's the letter A, and that will import your logo as a font. That can then be extruded. So that's a hack that I really want to try if I have time, because that would be really cool, right? And again, that's just in lieu of not having any other 3D software, right? Chocolate coffee mug. Imagine if it was actually made of chocolate. It was like a one-use. All right, it was like a one-use coffee mug. Slowly melts as you drink your coffee. All right. Let's rotate this around. All right. There we go. That looks even more interesting. And by the way, so sometimes you'll add lights, which is fine. But really, you can make a texture that has a glow. I just picked the glow. So you could actually create your own light by using an object and giving it a glow, because that's essentially what's happening here. All right, I kind of need to line up some of this stuff. You guys probably aren't too worried about that, are you? Not as much as me. Zoop. Scale it up. There we go. All right, cool. All right. Kind of making a just some like nice title art. We have this object. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna start designing this a little bit. There we go. Move that off to the side. Take those two, put them right back there. Like so. There we go. There's our fun title art that I'm just kind of working on. It's kind of cool. I think we need to add something to this. All right, so let's take a look at adding content. So right down here, we have a lot of models actually already included, as we can see, like so. Yours might not look like this. We'll toggle to the grid view. We see all these models off to the side where we can add our fun splashes and different things like that, okay? You get it. Thanks for joining me this fine, what is it, Wednesday? Oh man, it's Wednesday. All right, just having some fun with it. Cool. All right, so let's move on. Let me show you where you can get models. Check it. Let's go out to just a browser. Here's Aero. Yeah, here we go. You can get into the kind of learn and support because I know somebody was going to ask about assets that can be imported. Oftentimes I'll just search for a GLB, excuse me, an OBJ, right? But yeah, these are the different file types that you can import. Yep, cool. Cool. Supported file formats. Okay, here we go. Cool. Yeah. Nothing new in there, by the way. Just checking out Aero. Let's go out here. Let's go to 3D. 3D Adobe stock, right? Typing in like the word space. That's all I did. What's cool about this is if you do a search for space, and hopefully this works. Good, good, good. A lot of the like the planets are actually free. So we can see actually a lot of this, all this content that you actually see on the screen looks like it is free. So double check with your account. I don't know if I have special permissions, but typically I don't. But you can see this content, you can go ahead, jump in and download. So this Martian surface, let's go ahead and license and download it like I'm doing right now. This space exploration vehicle looks pretty cool. I'm going to have an issue with it because I have that 50 meg cap for size. So I don't actually know if this will... Come on, buddy. Wait for it. All right, we got a big day ahead of us, just so you know. Let's go back over here. I don't know why this is not working. All right, so you license that content, you download it. Again, a lot of this content I already downloaded, so we'll jump in here. We can see in space, we have all these fun assets that I've downloaded. I even have, I think, this cool astronaut in here. Actually, you know what? It's this one right in here. So this is typically what you get with these downloads. You might get a material file, the model. This OBJ is what I want, typically, right? It's the most widely used 3D file format. So I can go to dimension. Here we are. Maybe I don't like this splatter. I'll get rid of that splatter. It was a little much. And at this point, we'll just grab our OBJ and we'll drop it right into our current file. Boom, there he is. He is huge, right? You could always lock the scale. When something's really big, I'll just go down here, lock the scale, and do like 50%. So, 0.5, for instance. And then move him to the ground, right? He needs to be even smaller, 0.2. Move him to the ground. Put the center on the bottom. There we have it. Move him over. And this actually needs to be much more fantastic. But let's actually import, let's actually save my file. This is called Otherworld. I'm going to be mindful of the size, right? So I'll often just kind of check this file size. It's currently 43.7 megabytes. It's going to compress it down, but I'm just going to be mindful of that as I start adding more content, because I actually want to add like Earth, for instance. Actually, maybe even Mercury. Let's add some more unique planet, like Saturn, right? We could take a look at some of these. Oh yeah, that's what I want. That's pretty cool. Oh, let's get the sun. And I don't know if you know this, but if you are on a let's see if I can move this back. If these are kind of hard to see, but basically if you're looking at an object in iOS, you can actually preview that 3D file. So the OBJ right here, I'm just clicking and dragging and I can kind of get a preview of what this spacesuit guy looks like. Because that's what I was doing for some of these others. I did notice that some of these, the textures actually might not read is the only problem. So I don't really know what Mars looks like, at least not this Mars OBJ. Go back to dimension, zoop, drop it in, and there it is. So don't let the OBJ fool you, because it's not really applying the texture. But let's get some fun planets in there. Why not? There's another one. Oh yeah, planets everywhere. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save some of these, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna save some. So this is the thing. If I'm gonna export this for Aero, I might wanna move around these individual objects. So I actually might not want to have them all in one scene. So let's actually, I mean, I could probably put them in here, but I want each one to move independently in Aero, right? So that's the plan. So I'm gonna have my initial scene, which is gonna be this guy with this text, right? With that cool sort of like planet-like thing. And then some of these might actually move independently. All right, I think that sounds good. So let's do this dance. Text, spheres, the torus. There's that other sphere. Let's take the man in the spacesuit. All that stuff. Save my file. We will export this for Aero. And we're just going to be mindful of the size. But the cool thing about this, by the way, is that even though I have this 50 meg is just for one file. That's why I'm going to add the planets in separate files, and then I'll eventually get everything in there. So, but Paul, can I ever render all the complex scenes in Dimension if my machine is just not... Yeah, you got it, Tim. Just go ahead and say it, Tim. Just say it. So there is cloud rendering. Oh, like I might be running out of space. That's my only concern here. So let's do Otherworld. Yeah, sorry I was late in reading that comment. But like Tim says, render, you do have to make sure your file's saved. Go over here to render the cloud if you happen to have, ooh, error fetching credits. I'm kind of having an issue right now. I'm having a conflict of accounts is what it's coming down to. But it will render in the cloud for you, and then you can check it out later. All right, so that's exported out. I'm going to export out some of these planets as well. Let's just take this one. This one happens to be Mars. Exporting out Mars. I've only shown you one place. There's like so many other like places where you can get resources. So don't think about like modeling something. Think about like where. I'll show you actually 3 different resources. And I'm tracking the time too, because looks like our next session starts at 10. So I have about 45 minutes. Great. What the heck? Oops, I think I did that wrong. It's okay. Oh, you think the... Yeah, Tim, thanks for that. Confirmed. During the beta period, all Creative Cloud users are granted 15 free credits per month. That's awesome. Oh, man. I tell ya. Mercury. All right, cool. All right, everything seems good now. Switch gears. Let's go into Aero. Scan around. Looking for life. Looking for a flat surface to land on. Here's a flat surface. Wait for it. Yeah, thank you. Julia, good to have you here. Are we dealing with some network issues? Maybe. Maybe not. Either way, we could start building some more content in a second. In fact, that's what I might jump out and do right now. Because this was all pretty straightforward. You kind of already saw me export everything out. I was going to make these kind of spin around and do some other things. You saw this model that I got from Adobe Stock. But then there's also other resources. So I kind of wanted to point out a few more. For instance, Turbo Squid is another popular one. You can go out to Turbo Squid, come out here, type in space. Do a search. Oh yeah, good times. Let's try this again. Space. Is the internet down? Yeah, so Colby, you can stream Aero using Reflector, or you can use QuickTime. All right. Oh, man. Oh, boy, that took a little while. Oh, man, look at these. I usually change my price to free. It happens to be one space 3D model, I think. This one. Is that it? There we go. Cool. Oh, so this is what I go for. So formats. Those were a couple different formats that we know we can import. We want to do OBJ. I think DAE was one, but I'm just gonna mess with OBJ because that is the most popular format. So we have this Earth. I haven't imported the Earth yet. There's also this asteroid as well. Telescope. Let's get this cool asteroid. Again, just showing you this additional resource. I'm going to show you one more as well. Here it is. Says free. We'll download it. And we could add this like asteroid kind of whipping around in space. Pardon me. All right. There it is. Let's open it up right in here. Bam, you get the idea. I did not add the texture to it or download the material, but there that is. All right, so let's kind of move on. There are some good ones in there, by the way. I've downloaded some earlier, but I actually want to go to Mixamo now, because you saw that crazy character that I used earlier. So Mixamo, if you want to take things to the next level, we're dealing with this otherworld fantastic scenario. Please load Mixamo, but being able to pick and download characters, which is pretty awesome, in my opinion. So let's go right over here. This is the one you saw earlier, right? So it's a matter of just finding the character you want. So here's this pirate. Let's use this character. Load in. There's our lovely pirate. Ah, right? Perfect, right? Again, I want something otherworldly, so we might even search for alien. Let's see what happens. There we go. Here's an alien soldier. Not as scary as I'd like him to be, but we can go with him. Now I want to find some animations for this character as well. So come in here. Let's pick... yeah, belly dancing. Hey, why not? Right? You get the idea. These are all free, by the way. So just log in with your Adobe ID. And you could see him. Let's see what Mixamo thinks hip hop dancing is. So wiggly. All right, obviously there's a ton here. You could sort them or search through the animations that you want. I basically want like a walk cycle. There we go. We have our character jumping. Check it out right over here. You probably already saw that, but send to Aero as well, right? So selecting that. Hopefully this is working and it's up, all that good stuff. Sending it to the real world, to Aero, which it will appear in my Creative Cloud files folder. So we'll see that in a second. Boom, Creative Cloud. Good Lord. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's switch over. I think it might be working right now. So this is a GLB file. There's animation with it. And by the way, it's still sending to Aero. So it's just preparing just a moment. So anyways, I guess we got to be patient. Yeah, so there's a lot of content. I haven't really been keeping track of Mixamo, just so you know, Derek. So I don't know how much new content they've really added. Yeah, the Macarena's in there. Yeah, Tim, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I think we're having some technical difficulties. Let me know of other resources you guys might be interested in for 3D downloading content. Again, I always refer back to Adobe Stock because I trust the content that gets made here, and there's still a lot of free stuff out there. So check that out. Download. You can still map textures and materials onto objects, right? But it's you don't have any modeling capabilities. Oh yeah, exactly. A reference pose for your illustrations. Thank you, Tim. Also in Photoshop, speaking of reference poses, you can bring in those models into Creative Cloud, bring them into Photoshop, and that 3D animation will play in Photoshop. And like Tim's saying, you could use the timeline and stop it at a point in time, rotate, adjust, maybe sketch over, that sort of thing, right? Yeah, it looks like I'm buffering now for some reason. My connection is fine, by the way, absolutely fine, but it looks like it's buffering. Okay, everything's slowing down. Everything is going very slow. It's not good. Not good. But that happens. So feel free if you're on YouTube or wherever you are, you should be able to click in the lower right and adjust the quality, so you could drop that down to like 720p if it didn't already. Okay. Okay, good times. Yeah, so we do have some network issues. That happens. I'm sorry, folks. All right. Cool. All right, so I'm going to move on. Hopefully, I'm streaming now. Luckily, this is being recorded. I'm going to take things to the next level because there is something called Spark AR. So Spark AR. So basically, I made this content. I made this content in Photoshop. I made some content in Dimension, right? And now I want to bring that content into the real world, if you will, into augmented reality using Spark AR, which is the AR effects for Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so Spark AR Studio, go ahead and download it. What you're going to get is you're going to get this. So this is really fun to work with as well. Right in here, Spark AR Studio. So, okay, so again, I've created some stuff, and actually I probably need to add a little bit. Let's actually turn these off. Let's just go with these stars and these. Let's just go with these stars, actually. Okay, so for these stars, we're going to export this out. As a ping file. I know the stars are actually there, you just can't see them. I will export this to my desktop and we'll call these stars. Like so. Okay, so let's go in here. This is our new project. Let's make this a little bit larger as well. So I'm going to just show sort of like the iPad. It's a little larger, right? So I have this camera view. I have these scenes over here. These scenes become really important. Right, so I have the camera, the focal distance. Right in here, this is where all my content is going to live. I have these videos, is all they are, that you can switch for testing your content. Okay, so whether somebody has a beard and a hat or long hair, you get the idea. You can also access your own camera. So right over here, I can access my iSight camera, just my webcam, which is so low quality. That's why I'm probably not going to use. Network issues. It's okay. All right, we should be a little bit better right now. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to add an object. So we want to track our face. So right here, face tracker, insert, bam, there it is. It's now tracking my face. Now I can add another object that's like a plane. I can insert a plane. And on this plane, I can attach to the face tracker. So now this plane is being, obviously being attached to it. Let me zoom in like so. Let's pause the video because I can't grab it and move that up. Now, what I want to do here is I want to attach a material to it, right? This material is just going to have an image. What's that image going to be? Let's attach these stars. Non-power of 2. Anyways, let's go back. Let's change this. Remove from object. Let's just click play. Okay, so there we are. Here's our plane. Add a new material. This is called material 1. When I add materials, they appear down here, so I could rename this, and this might be stars, like so. And right over here, you can see I can start to change the color, right? So from there, I want to add a texture, which is actually going to be that file. So I don't know if that file might be too small, to be honest with you. So let's add the stars ping. Oh, good. It did get added. It's just kind of hard to see. We could always scale it up. Please stop from moving your head. Undo. Scale it up. Other world, I can add other world in there as well. There we have it. Let's hit play. There's our stars. So from basically a PSD into into augmented reality for other platforms. Let's add another object. This time I'm going to add a face mesh. So I'm going to insert this face mesh. Let's click play. There it is. There's the face mesh kind of being tracked like so. We can add a new material for it. Face material. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I think this is really cool. There we go. Looks like the network looks good, right? Cool. It's working. It's working. All right. So let's take a look at this face. By the way, what we're doing is we're going to go from, say, Dimension into, say, Instagram Stories. Okay, so we've already used Aero, but we can go from Dimension. We can use any other number of objects. I'm just going to save this. I'm going to create a new file. And let's throw that in there. Let's take a look if my file has finally downloaded. No. All right, let's not worry about it. So many things I wanted to download. All right, so let's go in here. You are here. Why not? Bam, there it is. Let's throw some metal. I'm not sure how it's going to treat that metal, but we're going to find out, right? So there it is. You are here. And we can take this down some. Let's center this text. There we are. Perfect. Wait for it, wait for it. Cone, bam. Flip it around. -180. Sphere, why not? Boom, there it is. Move it up like that, just placing one on top of the other. 0, 0, 0, cone, 0, 0, 0. Boom, there it is. Taking both of these, let's move them up. I'm just gonna create a "you are here" icon. Kind of like so. Okay, there we go, we have it. We've created our shape. I can make this cone and sphere blue if I want to, or red. Let's see what I have handy. There we go. That works fine. All right, done. Saving this. Exporting the selected models, which is everything. OBJ. Right in here, we have our fun face. And let's add an asset from my computer. "You are here, OBJ." Boom, there it is. Brings it in. Let's drop it onto our face tracker. Right? It's awfully large. Let's scale it down. Oh. Pause. Scaling it down. 3, 2, 1. Okay, right over here. I'm just going to go ahead and say 0.5. 0.5. 0.5. There we go. It was huge. Boom. Move it over if I want to. Like that. Okay, I'm sure this face is freaking everybody out, isn't it? This crazy face material. Right? Let's just turn that in the opacity all the way down, and let's click play. There we are. Dimension content as an AR filter. Yeah. You get the idea. Let's see if this works with my face real fast. Let's check this camera. So again, you can see it's kind of mapped. By the way, I can move it. So what I would do is I would hit pause. I would select this "you are here," move it over, move it up. Make this smaller. And it is conflicting with that plane. So I'm going to move the plane kind of behind me like that and play. There you go. Cool. You guys get the idea. Hopefully. I could use some more light on my face, honestly. I don't know why I look so dark. All right, let's do one more thing. Let's map a texture to my face as well. So let's pause this. Let's go to help, and you can download face assets. Downloading the face reference assets. Oh, that went fast. We have these textures. I could take a face. I'll go with face masculine. Right in here, we can jump in and start adding our graphics directly to our face if we want to. So we could take these stars, drop them in here like so, and invert them because we're going to have a cool face tattoo, apparently. Something like that. Yeah, libraries is not really loading for me. That's okay. What else should we drop in? What other content do I have? Let's grab this burst. We're going to make this actually a color. Gradient overlay. There we go. Works for me. All right, thanks for hanging out with me today, everyone. I appreciate ya. Just trying to knock out some content. There we go. I should be much faster at this. I don't know if this is really working. I'm not crazy about it, is what I'm saying. I'm not crazy about this part, but I'm just going to do a burst coming out from the center. And then we have some other things. I don't know, something like that. That's all I'm going to work with. Guess what? I'm just going to kind of merge these. And let's export this out as a PNG file. Face, masculine, ping, save, boom. Again, PSD to augmented reality, not only using Aero, but using other technologies as well, right? Everything always starts from Photoshop, it seems. All right, so face material, choosing a file, face masculine, ping file, open. Now, it mapped it to it, but remember I took that opacity all the way down, and now it's back up, right? So there we go. Now we have that burst on my face, and yeah, you can get weird in here, right? You guys get the idea? Does that make sense? We're covering so much today. It's crazy. Is it not crazy? Huh? I think it's crazy. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Okay, so just to recap, here's Adobe Dimension content. Here's Photoshop content. This is in Spark AR Studio, right? We've also taken that same content and brought it into Aero as well, right? So right over here, this is one thing I was working on. So let me see if I can open that up, see if this is where it's at today. Help me out, Mixamo. No luck. All right, that's fine. Mixamo character, this is in Aero, establishing the ground plane. Let's make him much larger. Like so. Let's preview him. There he is. Let's add a behavior because on tap, he's going to go ahead. When we tap him, he's going to wake up. So we're going to add that animation that was already baked in using Mixamo. Just like that. Let's preview it. Tap. And now we can see our monster wake up, ready to do battle. Like so. Yeah, buddy. Anyways, I think that's pretty darn awesome. Cool. All right, fantastic. I only have about 10 more minutes. So, and then we'll get into the rest of the day, which is a full day, real fast, boom. Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge in 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about creating caricatures and stuff. It should be pretty fun. Then we have Sean Riken is going to do some Photoshop magic as well. So think about this, even when you're in Sean's session, whatever he makes, think about like, what could I do in augmented reality with that PSD? And how else can I leverage this content, basically? Even if it's in Illustrator, because all I did is import a ping file, you can actually make something in Illustrator, just like I did, to be honest with you. Because when you saw this right over here, this was actually an Illustrator file right here, right? So again, from Illustrator mapped to your face, making it weird, I guess, right? Can Mixamo go into Dimension? If you can save it out as an OBJ and some of the other file types, the answer is yes, right? Let me actually check, because right in here on Creative Cloud Files, here's this GLB standing up, right? So the issue with this, let's save this. Let's make a new file. This is going to be interesting. So here he is. I could bring him into Dimension, as you can see, but it's not going to bring in the animation for this character, right? In fact, let's take a look at all these. Oh, this is nice. All of these, I guess there's not that much. Okay, so it wrapped him all in one material, right? But here he is. So yeah, you can bring them in. It's not going to bring in the animation because Dimension doesn't do animation. The question is, will it kind of get rid of the animation if I save it back out? Which is a question, right? So keep in mind that this Warrock primitive, this material, is actually a complete wrap of that character. See, look at all that content, right? So I'd actually want to modify this in Photoshop rather than dropping on different textures onto different parts of them. Spark AR is not an Adobe program. We do have Adobe Spark, which is different, but Spark AR is from Facebook because it allows you to create those Facebook stories and Instagram stories. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. More well said. Monster. All right, that was fun as well. Cool, cool. I have about 5 minutes. Let me know if you're new here. We're just happy that you are here, by the way. We're covering lots of new ground. I hope you guys think it's cool. How do you access CC libraries? Right up here. Starter assets is where I've been most of the time, and then libraries. So Colby, what you might have experienced is you can save from Mixamo, at least you used to. I don't know if it's still that way, but you could save those assets to your CC libraries panel. So I'm viewing the miscellaneous one, viewing by type. Doesn't look like I have any. Okay, here we go. Here's a fuse model that's not rendering. So that one's not showing up because we actually used to have an app called Fuse, which allowed you to sort of create characters as well. Okay. So, but right over here, typically you can see the Fuse models. Here's CC libraries where I can start to drop in pretty much anything that I need. So if I even wanted to add flowers to my head or whatever, I can actually make those 3D flowers. These were actually, I got these on Adobe Stock as well. So, just like that, bring this up. Like so. Export this out. Flowers. We'll do one more. Exporting this out for Aero. These flowers are pretty complex. I did not check it. Oh yeah, so Okay, so here we go. This is what Colby was asking for earlier. So this file is too large because these flowers are just too complex, right? So if you take a look right in here, it's going to probably be above the file size type because it wasn't able to compress it down to under 50 megs, right? So that's the issue there. So instead of using that one, I kind of drop in, say, this flower, for instance. Wait for it. There it is. Let's check this one out. Rose. Done. All right, welcome everybody. It's good to have you here. Feel free to chime in and say hello if you're new. We have a full day ahead of us, right? And you can see kind of what we're creating. We're creating 3D content. We're accessing 3D content. We could easily change this 3D content as well if I want to make this like damaged gold, right? Like so. We'll see that. Beautiful, right? Get a nice rendering of that. So I'm doing a render preview here. Awesome. I really like this one, actually. I'm going to export it as well. So selecting that rose. As well, now that I know it's small enough, rose gold. Brings new meaning to the term rose gold. All right. Have fun with this, guys. I want you to have fun with whatever you're doing. I think this is awesome. I hope everybody's doing great and staying safe and washing their hands. Here I am in Aero just to recap everything that we've talked about. Aero right in here. Let's go back to home. Let's add a new scene. Scanning the area. Tapping. Boom. Creative Cloud. Aero folder. There's my abstract content is uploaded. That's great. Still waiting for some of those others because it's actually syncing right now. So we'll just load in this abstract content like that. So we have that one. The rest is actually being synced, but this was actually made in Aero earlier, right? Let's delete that object. Let's add something else. Aero. Let's drop on our astronaut like so. And let's add our character as well. Here he is. Got it, got it. Let's move this out of the way. So, tap, action, animate, boom. This guy, behaviors, tap, move. X, Y, we want him to go up. There we go. There we go. All right, you ready for this? It's kind of what I'm going to end with. We have this Mixamo character right here, right? That just added some animation to. We have this guy actually is from Adobe stock. I actually didn't touch him, but I could have modified him in Dimension as well. But you can see he's like, hey, is that a dead? Is this an alien I stumbled across? Tap. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, he's waking up. This is no fun for me. Oh, he does not look happy. Good thing I'm much bigger than him, but you know what? I'm going to take off anyway. So tap, and he flies away. There he is right up there, actually. He's flying further and further away into the sky, right? From there, I can record a video. I could do some other interesting things with this, but you get the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. New York's in the house. Yes. All right. Yes, Carol, thank you so much, by the way. So even when you create content, don't think that Dimension is good for just making Aero content, because you could also make some cool things like you might be aware of that I do all too much. There we go. Whoop. easily render this content out, even using Creative Cloud servers as well. Cool. All right, thanks, Colby. It's good to have you here. I think this was excellent. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. I think we did so much. I think I covered augmented reality, like, you know, to a pretty good extent, right? Even creating that content and getting weird with it, as you can see right in here, with Dimension. And I'm really covering the AR platforms that are out there. There's Aero, there's the social media ones as well. We talk about Snapchat. Snapchat has Snap Camera. And we can make content for Snap Camera as well. It's very similar to Spark AR, by the way. So you guys get the idea. Watch from the beginning. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. I would love to keep the conversation going. I'm going to wrap up. I'm done. I got to go. Stay tuned for the next stream.